Hi there, welcome to Simmo's art group. Despite being surrounded by lots of guitars here, we're going to do some drawing. And I would like to introduce the grid system, which I really believe is a game changer. So without talking too much more, let's get on with it. This session, let's use the grid system to create a portrait of my friend watching the cricket. So where exactly do you start? Well, you need a computer and you need an application. The application you can find within the App Store, and there are many. Some are free, some you pay a couple of quid for. Personally, I use Grid Painter. And just to mention, I'm not sponsored by anyone on this video. Alright, you've got the app installed, open it up. And you'll be presented with a screen with a toolbar at the top. Upload an image file and you will see a basic pattern on your image. Use the grid unlock command on the left and then you can modify the grid to suit. From the toolbar you can increase or reduce the thickness of the grid lines. If you have a dark image you might want a light grid line, and if you have a light image you might want a dark grid line. This you can do as well as crop the image itself. Once cropped, you may find that the boxes have increased in size, so they need to be adjusted accordingly. So back to toolbar, custom minus sign. My experience suggests 10 by 9 as a pretty good average. Now the technical bit. You need a scale rule to transfer the 10 by 9 onto a piece of paper, which on reflection might require a separate video. When you come to draw the lines on the paper, make sure they're very light because they need to be rubbed out at some stage. And when we start drawing, we're just looking at the basic outline. Forget the details for the moment. There is a trick to this, and what you do is you flick your eyes from the screen to the grid. It takes a little bit of practice, but it is quite instinctive. In terms of equipment, I generally use like a self-propelling pencil, a draftsman's type pencil. And then when it comes to doing the darker shading, I use a B to a B3 pencil. At this point in the process, you appreciate the fact you've drawn the squares lightly, because now you've got to remove the lines. Right, we're ready to bring in the big guns now and get down to some serious drawing. And this is the fun bit. Once you start to do the shading, you sometimes think, this is never going to work. Impossible. But it's amazing it does. Trust your eyes on the photograph where there's the dark areas and the light areas. And to help soften the shading, sometimes I use a tickling stick or a brush, as it's commonly known. And I think maybe I made a mistake with the autofocus on the camera. It keeps popping in and out of focus, so I apologise for that. Towards the end, I look to remove some of the shading to highlight certain areas. I use a very fine pencil eraser. Many thanks to my mate Colin, who I hope was bowled over with the results. Yes. Well, that's it. My first YouTube video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like. If you fancy leaving a comment, well, that's good too. See you next time.